Glover.
Dope. Dope, 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 dope.
Welcome to our studio. This will be our communication platform to get information out to everybody at any level, the same information, everybody understanding. The company history is a major part of understanding the company, why we do what we do, and hopefully we can give you a little bit of insight on how we put everything together, why we did, and where our future is headed. Back to 87 to 91, I twisted wrenches and I got my heavy duty technician certificate. And I got thrown into the parts department, not actually really knowing why, but I did. You know, I guess it was part of the training process, which nobody made me privy to. So I was just doing my thing, living paycheck to paycheck, I think, just like everybody else at that age. And so I had the unique opportunity to spend 5 years in the service department, getting my ticket. And I spent a couple years in the parts department. Never got my ticket in the parts department, but I spent enough time in there to understand the systems and what took place. And so when I was about 23, 24, when I was in the parts department, it was difficult because, a lot of those guys had, 5, 10, 15, 20 years of experience, and I didn't have any experience. During that process, I spent some time working with a rental lease company called Ace Truck Rentals at the time. So that was probably in the 1994 area, 1995. And I actually bought the company, or 25%, 26% of the company from my father. And I started building on top of the existing 30 rental units that the rental company had. So being young and a little bit naive and on the aggressive side, I tried to build the rental fleet, up to a size that, I never even pegged a size. There was no planning or thought process behind it. It was, hey, I'm going to go out and get as much business as I can. I'm going to go rig up trucks and find rental customers. And, that's how we were driven. Back in the day, we build it and you go get it. And today, and with the vision, it's, hey, you know what? You build it first internally, then you go get it. A little bit different, but a little bit different times back then as well. So in trying to grow the rental company, Ace Truck Rentals at the time, Red Deer was limited in what we could do here. And we had a few trucks in Calgary during the mid-90s, probably all 30 of them that we had. And over the course of, 3 or 4 years, we grew the rental fleet up to 144 rental units, and we started a leasing division from scratch. And we had maybe 200 or 300 trucks into a leasing division by, 2000. So I had a lot of experience in renting and leasing trucks and selling parts and working on trucks to make sure I knew how they operated and could fix them. And then, so got the truck rental leasing gig going. And it was about 1999, and I had built a facility along the way in Calgary to run a leasing rental location out of. And I also went into up north a little bit to built a building up there, and we had a rental leasing company just outside of the Camrose area, a little bit more north. So, with everything going and very, very well at the time, I'm probably 28, 29, 30 years old. And my father approached me. In talking with him and asking him a few questions, it was quite overwhelming. What he wanted me to do. He wanted me to buy a company, in late 1999, 2000, where I didn't understand a lot of different things, especially running a company that size. We had Red Deer and Camrose when Al was going to retire, and so I asked some questions. I went and talked to a lawyer, which I don't at that age. I'm not sure how many people really experience talking to a lawyer on putting deals together like that, and so through that process, it really helped me out. We both had our legal counsels because that's the way our family operates. And just making sure you're looking out for yourself and your team around you. Once you get into business, so we put a deal together that was right for both of us, and so Glover International was formed in 1999, November 1st, and we took over Red Deer and Camrose. So in that process, there was a dealership available in the Calgary market, and Navistar came to myself and said, Brad, we just facilitated a deal with your dad and yourself, and we were wondering if you had any appetite to come into the Calgary market. And, of course I did. I was young, and, I didn't have any money anyway, so it wasn't like it was going to be a big deal for me. But looking back on it, there was a lot of things that you took for granted. And so we put the deal together for Calgary, and we entered into that market where it had huge potential. And we seen that obviously before we went into the market, but just understanding what we had in Red Deer and Camrose was first and foremost. We weren't going to go into venture into Calgary without making sure that the dealerships in those two cities were looked after, and we weren't stretching the company too thin. But we did. We stretched the company really thin in Red Deer and Camrose, and we took some key people down to Calgary to get Calgary up and going. So Calgary, Maine was built in 2001. Personally, was making sure that we had a group dedicated to the company that had the interest and appetite to invest in it, along with myself. And as things grew, it just got a little bit too much for myself to handle. And so obviously a partnership along the way was a no-brainer for me. One, I'm not sure that I'm the smartest person all the time, but I like to think I am, but I know it's not true. And so I was looking for good people to support myself, my business. That turned into our business. My business is always our business. I mean, the team members we have in it, there's no way that we could even come close to where we're being today without you. And the hard work that everybody's put in, whether you're currently working with us or the retirees or worked for us in the past, our appreciation is sincere. Our culture was driven by the people we had in the company. So when I was out looking for partners, it was a no-brainer to start out with my first partner in Shane Bosch. So Shane worked for the corporate side of the company, Navistar, and he had a really good understanding of trucks and specs. But the most valuable thing that Shane brings to our organization is his smile, his ability to make sure that he gets everything done that he promises to get done. And I'll tell you, Shane promises a lot, and he delivers. And I'm blessed to have come across him and appreciate that he had some appetite to come in to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to be an entrepreneur all his life. I knew that. So maybe in my mind, I knew that he was the right guy because maybe he had the appetite to invest, and that's what I was looking for. So Shane came on board. I want to go back 15 years ago and say that's when it was. And again, times and dates and stuff like that to me, they mean something, but in this kind of the history, they don't mean much. We were always on a path. Whatever the opportunity was, we created the channels and we picked one and we went down it. So when I was picking out partners and going down that road, it was critical, absolutely critical that I did not make a mistake. And Shane, thank you very much. You in my eyes are a hero, and proud to have you as a partner and part of our team. When I grew up, I maybe left school a little bit early, but I was willing to work. And so my math skills and my culture with regards to the book side and accounting, wasn't that stellar. And it's a weakness that I identified from the start in myself. Not that you want to sit there and identify your weaknesses, but at some point in time when you need help, you have to start identifying the weakness and trying to find a strength that balances that off and actually gives you the opportunity to grow or look at other opportunities. And Matt Januska, our CFO, Matt's been with us now. I want to go back 16, 17 years. In that time frame, and he was a godsend to me. He helped me understand financials and depreciation and what it took and how much money you got to put over here to do this and what are you thinking. And so he was, he helped me financially plan. When I got him in as a partner, then he started telling me, exactly, his views, which is awesome because that's what we needed. We needed different views, opinions, different characters, walks of life to get to where we are today. And Matt was very beneficial to that. And I appreciated him so much. And I appreciate him to this day. And I always will, Matt. So thank you very much. We have another gentleman, my third partner and our fourth partner in the ownership group, Rod Hayes. Rod came to us, out of the blue. I believe he had a relationship with Shane Bosch in Calgary from doing business over the years. And Shane expressed a lot of interest in Rod when Rod had, was looking for work. And Rod wasn't looking for work because he needed to look for work. Rod was looking for work because he was looking at opportunities. And so when Shane and Rod talked, and Rod expressed the idea that, hey, this would be a cool thing to look at. So I went down, and I believe it was Shane and I sat down with Rod, and we had put together an understanding to work together in the company, and without giving Rod any idea that he could be or was earmarked to be a partner at the end of the day. Obviously, we had to see how everything went. And Rod, you turned out to be a fantastic guy because you are a partner. We love you. We appreciate you. Going back to Shane, Rod, and Matt, my partners, the hours of work that these guys put in is absolutely incredible. And, we're trying to create an experience for everybody in our company, trying to give time back because you can't buy time. So that's coming up in the vision. Rod and I and Matt and Shane, we wrote the vision over probably a year and a half period. We started executing it over a year ago as we were still writing it. But some of the things that we had to put into place, obviously, hopefully you're reading the updates and the vision because there's going to be a lot more coming on it, and it is our future. If you're watching this video, you're working with Glover International Trucks, and I thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to have your trust and your support in us. And trust me when I say that, our team is the best of the best. We've been recognized so many times over the years for being the best of the best, and we celebrate. Navistar came along and started dealing with myself with regards to going in and buying the Calgary location, as it was struggling a bit, and the corporate side of things came in and took over, and we're managing it, and was wondering if I had an appetite to buy the Foothills International at the time. So being young and as naive as I was, I didn't have a problem with it. The only problem I had was how much money was it going to cost and where's the money going to come from, because I didn't have any. So a plan went into play. So we sit back and we had to think, how does the Calgary market enhance, Glover International Trucks? And that was the new company that I had formed, Glover International Trucks, and had Red Deer and Camrose. And being 31 years old at the time, the opportunity to go to Calgary was a no-brainer for me, because it didn't really scare me because it wasn't my money that I was using to buy it. So how could it scare you? Got none, you're not afraid to lose anything if you got none, right? So, but that's where I had the backing of our family. And it was a huge help, and obviously gave us the opportunity to have some success into what we were doing and create opportunities, and man, did it thrive into a business we are so proud of. And we're so proud of our team members and our team that got us here, current and past team members, and our retirees, which are quite a few. And you can always tell with the company how good they are operating and how good their culture is by how many people actually retire from their company at the end of the day. Maybe we'll talk more about that in another of our segments. Our ethics and our culture are our number one priority with regards to when we're not focusing in on revenues and stuff like that, and our team members. Our culture is huge for us, and what we do internally reflects on what we do externally outside of our walls with our customers and the relationships that we build along the way. Those relationships, when you look at it, and if you really think about it, relationships are a big drive of what we do. And it's the relationships that support each other internally with our team, externally with our clients, our customers, and also with our suppliers. Let's go back into the early 2000s, where we looked at a Drumheller play where Drumheller was it was kind of not, it's not off the beaten track, but it kind of is. But nobody was servicing that market. There's a lot of action out in that market, whether it's the farming community, oil and gas, the transportation. Like it is, it's a very, very cool little area with a little niche in it that, we can say that we're proud that we identified it and moved into that market when we did. And currently, the Drumheller location is one of our most healthy locations in all of the company, and it goes right back to their leader and their mentor, and the people that they have working with them. Obviously, I'm so proud of Drumheller because it was a new startup. We bought it off a gentleman by the name of Charlie Harback, and it was. Charlie had a great business going. He built a new facility that we took over and eventually bought. And it was just one of those things where I think he just needed the dealership support, the backing behind it, by having an OEM product with the International Truck, and we had access to the parts, and we kind of opened up the market in a way that the market hadn't been opened up before. So Drumheller was a really good play for us, a play because we love rural Alberta and we want to support rural Alberta and the clientele that goes along with it. And so, now we're set up in Camrose, Red Deer, Drumheller, Airdrie. We have a main dealership in Calgary that we built back in 2001 when we entered the market. And along the way, in 2015, 2016, we built CGY. Is what we call CGY. So the opportunities that we had in putting facilities together, doing acquisitions, we acquired the IC Bus Company 10, 15 years ago, and that helped us diversify. So as we were growing into different dealerships in Camrose, Red Deer, Drum, Airdrie, 2 in Calgary, we looked at the opportunities of, what else can we add that is very, very valuable, because it just felt like we were missing something, and it was diversification.